In 1492, he sailed the ocean blue. This guy might have more stuff named after him than just about anybody. Countries, cities, capitals, rivers, schools, dog grooming facilities. He's even responsible for the sea in Washington, D.C. Some people think he was a great explorer. Other people think he was just a big jerk. Yes, that's right. Today, we're talking Christopher Columbus. Here's everything you need to know, and some things you don't, about Christopher Columbus. The first thing we should know about Christopher Columbus is that he's widely credited with discovering, or more correctly, rediscovering, the New World. The New World is that part of the world that's not the old world, but like America and stuff. Columbus sailed to the New World and back 4 times between 1492 and 1504. He was the first European to discover the Caribbean and Central and South America, and he established and governed the first European colonies in the Americas. Not a bad resume. Columbus's life actually begins in 1451 as Cristoforo Colombo. And why? Because he was from Genoa, and that's just how they roll. Genoa is now part of Italy, but back then they were just Genoa rolling solo, and people would be like, Genoa? What's up with you guys? And they'd be like, what do you mean? Nothing's up with us. We're just here doing our thing. Columbus's first job was helping out at the Genoese cheese cart. His dad ran as a side business. But little Cristoforo was destined for far bigger things than cheese. Oh, yes. Columbus landed his first job at sea at the tender age of 10. He embarked upon a long career of sailing, and along the way, he also learned the business of doing business. Now, what's super important to understand, and led directly to us even knowing the name Christopher Columbus, was a world-changing event that was happening about the same time he was born. That was the fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Turks. And that was a very sad day for the Western Europeans, because that was the day the door to the Silk Road got slammed in their faces. Constantinople was the gateway that connected goods from Asia to the West, and the Turks and the Western Europeans did not like each other, not one bit. So Columbus was born into a world where finding a new way to get to Asia was on everybody's mind. Educated people of the day actually knew that the world had to be round, like since the ancient Greeks, and Columbus had found some Arab writings on trying to figure out just how big around the world might be, but there was a problem. Columbus was eager and bold, ambitious and bright, but classically educated, not so much. So he didn't realize that there was a significant difference between the Arab mile in the text and the Latin mile he was using to do his calculations. This, fortunately, as it turns out, caused him to underestimate the true circumference of the Earth by like 10,000 miles. But Columbus had a plan, man. He was going to be the first guy to sail west to Asia. He was going to be rich and famous, but there was just one little hitch in his giddy-up. He had to find somebody willing to finance this nutty little romp across the Atlantic. So first he takes his idea to the Portuguese, who look at it and are like, I don't think your math works out here, bro. So he goes to the English, who say, we're terribly sorry, but we seem to be up to our ascots in domestic strife, old bean. But best of luck to you. He goes to Venice. He goes to his native Genoa, but nobody is willing to throw down the cash. Everybody kept telling him the same thing, that his math was wrong and it was a lot further than he thought, but Columbus was not the kind of guy to let the facts stand in his way. Thankfully for the Spanish. Yes, Isabella I, Queen of Castile, and Ferdinand II, King of Aragon, the rulers of what is now Spain. They were married, had a unified kingdom, and they had a lot of money. Well, Isabella had a lot of money anyway. She was a fiery redhead, very Catholic. She liked Columbus. She liked his style, liked his apocalyptic dogma. She was a Columbus fan. They both were. So they ended up financing his trip and hooking Columbus up with 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. And they also promised him 10% of whatever he could bring back, and that he could be governor of any colonies he might establish there. That's a pretty sweet deal. So on August 3rd, 1492, he set off with his ships and his compass to Asia. A couple months later, he ran into the Bahamas, which is not Asia, but you couldn't tell Columbus that. In fact, he never admitted that the land he helped colonize was not part of the Asian continent. which is why the Americas are named after Amerigo Vespucci and not our buddy Christo. He was greeted in the New World by friendly natives who he immediately took prisoner to learn the source of their gold. He grabbed a few of those natives to take back home with him, and he kept exploring. He ran the Santa Maria aground in Haiti on Christmas Day. Maybe he'd been partying a little too hard, we don't know. But he took the opportunity to leave 39 guys behind to start the first Spanish colony in the Americas. When he gets back to Spain in the spring of 1493, with all the gold and plants and prisoners, he is a major rock star, like big. He goes on 2 more expeditions, one in the fall of 1493 and one in May of 1498, where he is the first to notice and document the phenomenon of compass variation, by the way. He names a bunch of stuff, starts some more colonies, pillages some more resources, things are going great. Then in 1500, bam! Columbus and his 2 brothers are arrested and charged with cruelty and incompetence in their administration of the New World colonies. And even his best friends are like, yeah, you know, he can be a little rough around the edges sometimes, I guess. He eventually begs out of the charges, but he is banned from ever being governor of anything ever again, which is probably for the best. He goes on one last journey in 1502, where he ran into some trouble and ended up stranded in Jamaica for an entire year, which sounds suspiciously more like an extended vacation, but whatever. After he returned home from his 4th journey, Columbus's health rapidly deteriorates from an arthritic-like condition that he suffered from, and he dies in Spain in May of 1506. He was about 54 years old. So there you have it. He was born in Genoa. He was bigger than cheese. He was an explorer. He set up the first European colonies in America. He was a horrible governor, and he wasn't very good at converting Arab to Roman miles. And that's everything you need to know, and some things you don't, about Christopher Columbus. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this presentation, please like it and share it with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. And please subscribe to our channel. Thanks again.